Joe Bailey, what is your definition of what a leader or a mentor can be? You are obviously our WHPE leader.
I am.
And we're very fortunate to have you on board.
Best personal trait. It's hard to narrow it down. It really is.
You don't have to choose one, Joe. You can just don't steal mine.
I'd say listening more than anything, because you learn so much by listening. You know, listening to the problems people are having, listening to the concerns they have, listening to what's working, and then trying to work alongside that. Because if you're not listening to what people need from you, then you're not really going to be able to help them in the first place. So I guess
I agree.
Excellent.
And then I would add in reflecting and evaluating your own program, your own curriculum, your own teaching style and philosophy, and how can you better students this year but also in the future.
I don't know about you guys, but I remember being a young teacher and wanting to be valued as a PE contributor to a team. I started at middle school level, so I worked with 3 other people when I first started teaching. And I remember, you know, I had some really great mentors, and it was back in a time that they didn't have mentoring programs, but I definitely had one person that took me under her wing and made sure that I got off to a good start. You know, so I'll never forget that, and it just reminds me with all the new PE teachers that have come into my district of, you know, how to work with them, how to be leaders in curriculum development. But going back to being a young teacher is being willing to listen to their ideas and getting them to be a valued part of your teams, especially, you know, middle school, high school level, when you do have to work together as a team as opposed to the elementary setting where you're kind of on your own.
All right, I'm going to go with just dedicated. You know, I think one of the biggest things right now is just dedicated to continue to learn, because I think you know, everything is growing so quickly, everything is changing so quickly. You've got to continue to stay on top of it. You can't just rely what you learned on, you know, in school. For me 10 years ago, you know, it's constantly changing. So just being dedicated to your profession, and just always looking for new things, looking for ways to make yourself better. Again, for the students, for the parents, for whatever. But again, that's just going to show your staff, you know, as a leader, that you're dedicated to that team, and you're dedicated to your profession.
I like tying that kind of together. I like what you said about, you know, making that earlier on, about making that connection with university level. You know, it's not just I've exited university and that's it, I'm done. The learning continues, the connections should continue. Whenever I've had student teachers, I've learned a lot from them, and they've learned from me. It's a two-way street. Everyone has something to offer, and you know, I don't think any of us want to ever be at a point where we think we have the answer or we know the right way to do it, because like with everything, there's so many different ways to do things, and so many different ways that work. Being open to that and being willing to change, to try new things, that's critical. Naomi's back. Yay.
Hi,
Yay.
guys. Sorry. Sorry about that. Now I'm sweating because I was running around trying to get everything figured.
Well, we did a poll without you. No.
Ah.
But you should be able to see the results from the leadership mentorship poll if you when you get connected and back up and running.
Yeah, we chatted just a little bit about best personality traits. So.
Okay. I'll tweet that one out. I don't think I got that one tweeted out yet. That's everything. I was just about to cut out. So, all right.
That's all right. We rolled with it.
So some of the questions that Andy had asked was, what makes a great physical education teacher? How can we best mentor pre-service teachers? How can we encourage and support PE teachers new to the PE profession? Are the current leadership practices that we are employing within our PE departments effective in nature? And how can we measure this effectiveness?
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
How many of you have gone back to colleges and given any presentations? Has anyone had a chance to do that?
Yes.
Yeah. Were you invited, or did you offer your services?
Combination of both. There was we have a future professionals conference every year, and I went back and I taught that. It was great. It was really good. It was nice to connect.
Just going back to Joy Faith, and I see he's done that a couple times. It's like, what a cool opportunity, to really have a discussion about what's happening and to meet the college professors and, to either give them a taste or just to get your name and face out there. But yeah, definitely a cool thing to do.
I feel like we're pretty fortunate in Wisconsin because we have quite a few future professionals that come to workshops, and I know Joe can attest to this, but I've led a couple sessions where there have been a lot of future professionals there, and it's just so invigorating to see them. They're usually the ones that do the most participating and are right there ready to learn, and they're just sponges ready to take on this new career of their choice. And so I think we need to capitalize on that. I'm just so excited, and I think any organization, any groups that you guys are a part of, it would be so valuable and to your benefit to get them involved in any way that you can, helping out with your sessions. And I'm toying with the idea we do a family wellness night each year, and even my Jump Up a Heart event is getting a couple of the college kids to come and help me out as volunteers so that they can actually get their feet wet in a different way than actually student teaching, because they can do all that when they student teach, but I think just getting them some of that experience ahead of time.
It is. It's true that it's the peripheral stuff that you're not directly taught at college within your classes, that you really are kind of muddying your feet trying to figure it all out. And that's an excellent idea, Patty, to do that, to give them that exposure.
Well, I think
Are you up and running, Naomi?
Sorry, what was that?
Are you up and running?
I think so. I have everything uploaded, and I think I just sent out a couple tweets, so we're good to go. My heart rate has gone down a little bit now. Still sweating a little bit, but we're good.
I think for all of us as well, making ourselves accessible to our future professionals, because I think sometimes it can be intimidating. I know from my perspective, when I was a student, I wouldn't have necessarily gone and contacted, and okay, the means weren't there then anyway, but internet free zone. But contacting, I'm not that old, contacting people and saying, help, I wouldn't have necessarily done that, but perhaps if that had been offered to me, like it can be now, that maybe I would have asked a question about something. Trying to get people to realize that it's okay to ask questions, it's okay to seek help. It's important because we don't all know everything. I don't know everything, but if I can help somebody or I can direct someone to someone who can help them, then yeah, great, let's do it. We can all help.
Anyone want to talk about a mentoring program maybe that they have set up in their school that's working well? Anything special that they do? For us, ours kind of fell apart this year, and it was kind of disappointing because I had a new teacher fresh out of college, and she's absolutely amazing, and she's just done everything I thought perfect and had a great year. But like Joe had talked before about reflecting, it's like that is some key parts, is when can we sit down and reflect, and I think that's such a big part of that mentoring process. It's just having that time, and I definitely think we missed it, and we had those opportunities before, so I was kind of disappointed in not having that time. But we found a lot of time on our own, to kind of get caught up. But any programs that you guys want to talk about, or anything that you remember out of a good mentoring program?
One of the elementaries I had been at is less than full time, so there was a time when it was kind of a revolving door. People would retire and then they would leave that post. So I mentored about 5 teachers in 5 years going through that position, and the cool part is they kind of did a double mentoring thing where they had me as a PE teacher as one of their mentors, but because I wasn't in the building, they also had somebody else in their building that they could go to. So I think that's an important thing to talk about. And I think our district has done a pretty good job of doing that. And I don't know about you guys, but ours have some regular meetings that they have to go to, the new teachers. Did they do that for your teacher, Matt? Did Sarah have to go to any new teacher meetings?
That's what we had always done in the past.
Okay.
But no, she didn't. Yeah, she didn't have to. So.
Well, I can see why that was kind of a valuable missed piece.
I think it was, but like I said, we stayed connected as we could, and I just tried to, offer, hey, text me, tweet me, whatever, any way that you can possibly connect, to any questions, and I just tried to be as proactive as I could, what might I miss, what might I, what do we need to talk about, and just try to have that daily discussion. So.
Well, she had a great colleague in you, so she was pretty lucky. I truly think that, Matt. So.
Well, thank you. Yeah, she was great to work with. So, I mean, that always helps too. I'm someone who is that dedicated, like I talked about before, and knowledgeable too. So, Naomi, do you want to talk about your first 2 years? I mean, I know you're kind of new to this too, and I know you came into a huge school, and then downsized quite a bit your second year. So, what was the big difference from first year to second year? Any thoughts?
Well, yeah, my first year was in a school. So it was a 9 to 12 school, so high school, and there's 2,000 students in the school. So I got to teach a lot of phys ed, and I was teaching a science class as well. And yeah, there's some first year sessions that all the first year teachers would go to. So there's a lot of support for that, especially with unit planning and trying to help out with that part. We did a lot of unpacking of curriculums and things like that, and rubric creation. So that was kind of neat to kind of get to experience that. And then downsizing, yeah, to my Star City school. Again, I went to I switched divisions, so not much difference between the two divisions, but again, they supported the new year teachers quite a bit. I had to go to the type of unit planning we do. What it's called is understanding backwards by design. So taking what you want students to know, and then rather than saying this is the sport I want to do, okay, well, let's go backwards. What do I want my students to learn? What are they supposed to know first? And then kind of building upon that. Instead of just saying I have this idea and this activity that I want to do. So they kind of, you had to go to those first year sessions and the training and stuff. So that was kind of neat. So you did have support like that. The downfall is, again, being in a small school. I'm the only phys ed teacher. So it's tough in that sense, but I did intern in this school division before I went to the other school division, so I did know a lot of the phys ed teachers around here, so that was kind of neat. So for me, that was all right, but getting to know other teachers too, that's a little bit tough, especially in a small school. But other than that, it's good. I mean, I've had some pretty awesome first 2 years, and being a part of just getting onto Twitter. I actually have to thank my basketball girls for that, because they kind of got me on here, but this is kind of what's got me going, and kind of helped me stay above water these past 2 years. Sometimes you feel like you're drowning, but it's not too bad. So.
Well, based on some of your posts, Naomi, I would not have guessed that you've only been teaching for 3 years. So that's a plus for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, it would be kind of neat to have called the mentorship program, where you can go and talk to somebody and if you have questions about things like that. But I mean, my staff, next year there's going to be 10 people on staff. So, if we have questions, you just walk across the hallway and you get to talk to them. In the big school there at Carleton, we had a small, pretty close-knit phys ed department. So you got to talk to each other there, and that was kind of neat. So, I mean, for me, I've been pretty lucky with the people that I know and that have supported me through this. I'm not sure what it's like for other new teachers, but I've had a pretty good go so far. I haven't been scared away yet.
Going back to what you were just saying about, going back to curriculum and programming, what Naomi just said about, instead of looking at it as a sport a unit, let's say, of, oh, it's soccer time, or it's volleyball time, or it's whatever else. I like, again, I think for a lot of people have now shifted more towards, right, what do we want to learn, and then the activity or the process comes, what the means by which you're going to deliver it comes later on. And that's a big shift from the, I guess, a more traditional old school model to what we're seeing nowadays, and one that many schools are still working on that transition. I know it's something that happened with us 9 years ago when I first came over here. So, and it was a big shift. So
I think that kind of hits all 5 learning themes too. I mean, when you think about it, kind of teaching that way and thinking that way and processing that way, and definitely a huge shift and definitely in the right direction. So
yeah.
And at my school, a different type of mentoring system is we have a brain break called Gem and Minute in our classrooms. And what I do differently is I will teach the 5th graders, one classroom of 5th graders, the 5 simple movements. And those 5th graders will go around to every classroom in our building, and they will teach those movements.
That's
so
awesome.
They are the new PE teachers every day for that whole week.
That's
and they're
fantastic.
developing leadership skills, communication skills, and responsibility skills. So instead of having my voice, they get an older, cooler 5th grade voice, teaching them the fun movements, which I think is really cool.
That's really neat.
So something we do at our school.
My colleague Alicia Blanchett, she tweets it at Run Dance Live. In her team games class, she has her students lead the warm up. They're all sign up for a particular week. They design it, they incorporate it, and out of that, there was one student in particular who last year came up with 3 different types of new little warm-up activities. I think he called them like squirrel jumping jacks and what was the other one?
Alligator push-ups.
Alligator push-ups.
Yep.
You know, but again, the ownership was there and the creativity came out. And I thought that was just wonderful. That's something that everyone can then take away and go, you know, we don't have all the answers. And I love what you just said, Joe, about having your students go out there and do it. And that's really special. That's fantastic.
You know, I think one thing, maybe just to cap off this leadership and mentoring topic, is it's great to hear Joe talk about incorporating his students. And so we have leadership from our perspective. You know, as learning leaders, we have leadership positions, you know, for us in our own school district. But I think one other area of leadership to think about is incorporating and getting our colleagues to step into some leadership positions as well. You know, because I think they often might look at some of us, you know, I've been teaching a while, so I've been at the head of our PE department, but, you know, I have some people that have been trying to get out and do some workshops and, you know, to share their voice a little bit more, and I think that's an important thing that we can do for our profession, is to get more leaders out there. You know, make us a valid part of our school districts, you know, make them know who the PE teachers are in your district, you know, and that they are valued teachers. I don't know if that made sense, but
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. I didn't intend to, my goal in life was not to be president of Wisconsin Health and PE, yet somehow I ended up doing that. And it took a while to get there, but, you know, it was just by connecting with people and learning that I felt more confident. And it is, I don't want other people to think they can't do that. Anyone can get out there and share, and you're right, how we do need to help our colleagues take that step a little bit out of their comfort zone. You know, so many people have great ideas that they don't feel confident about sharing, and trying to encourage that, and, you know, sharing the wealth. There's a wealth of knowledge out there, and we don't need to reinvent the wheel every time. So yes, by fostering that, by encouraging people to share what they do, no matter what it is, that's a really, really, really good point.
Yeah.
Well, I think too, you could just see that leadership, that mentoring, that development through Twitter too. You know, as someone starts, where and what their tweets are about, and then how more expansive they get, and how more, you know, just more interactions and more connections, and just kind of watching that growth, just from people on Twitter too, is amazing. So, so yeah, doing it with leadership with your students, leadership with your parents and your department across the world. Sorry, I missed state. You know, nationwide and everything too, and across the world. So definitely very expansive.